This is the Empress evolution.
Welcome to Earth School, fellow philosopher. Spoiler alert, you're a multidimensional being with powers you may have thought only existed in stories. Faith or folly, round here we do it all. Many lives, many levels, many masters. Whether it's learning how to cook a healthy meal, navigating the spiritual life, processing our feels, or saving the planet, we're here for all of it. This is the Jessamyn Shows, presented by Empress Evolution. Well, welcome, David Nino Rodriguez. You are the perfect first guest for our masculine mentor series titled Mouthwatering Manly Men. Thank you so much for being here. David, you are a boxing legend. You are a human rights activist. Before COVID, you were working on a project called Lucid Love, where you were working with school systems and in detention facilities, talking about bullying and coping mechanisms for that, sharing your story. You're also doing a regular series with Laura Eisenhower called Dark to Light. You're a dog father. You're so much more. But let's just go ahead and dive in a little bit to your past here. Like how much did bullying in your life? Because on your website you mentioned that you were bullied quite a bit as a kid, and that with all the training that you were doing, that it was really helpful for you to process a lot of this information, the aggression that you were experiencing. You know, how how much was bullying part of the reason why you got into boxing?
I was well, this is proper for this show. So I was beat up by a little girl on the playground when I was about 5 years old, and my dad, my sisters came to my welfare and stopped the whole situation. I mean, it was every day I was coming home beat up with a black eye or a bloody lip, and it was a girl beating me up. I mean, she was older than me, but bigger than me, but it just happened that way. And I was saying that I fell off the swing set, the merry-go-round, and all these excuses. And my dad was like, "That's it," took me to the boxing gym at 5 years old, and the ripe age of 5 years old, and I just learned how to punch at a very young age. And I grew into the sport. Really, I'd like to say that boxing picked me. I was a troubled teen. I had a lot of problems, like I have a lot of teenagers, and it was really my sanctuary. It was really the place I went to get away from the craziness of life. And I was just centered there at the boxing gym. I just felt like it was a form of meditation. And the boxing gyms that I went to, like it's not like today. They were in the ghetto. They were community centers. A lot of poor kids, and it just boxing grabbed me, took a hold of me, and took my life in a completely different direction than I ever would have expected. Because I really should have went to college and probably could have played football and done all those things, but um, boxing gripped me. It just had a hold of me. I love boxing so much.
Yeah, and then it sounds like with all of the stuff that you've went through, you're kind of the perfect person to go and work on the Lucid Love project that you were doing. What was that like?
Well, lucid love really happened after my losses in boxing. I was 36-0 as a fighter, top prospect, in the top 10, and I got knifed coming out of a bar, and they slit my throat, which you see here, all that, and I almost died. And I almost died twice in a year. In the year 2011, I flatlined twice, and when that happened, the end of the year in December, I got my neck slit open coming out of a bar. The common denominator in all this was alcohol. Okay, it was always alcohol. I didn't know how to. I juggled two extremes. I was always juggling my career being a professional boxer, heavyweight champ, and then also alcoholism, because I had no outlet. I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to balance. I had no way. I was never a in the middle type of guy. So with all this happening, I finally just came to the realization that now at this time of my life, after all that turbulent career, that I just wanted peace. I just wanted to be left alone from all of it. And well, 36-0, went back in the ring and lost twice, and then came back and won the last time. And then I had back surgery, and I knew, hey, God's telling me to get out. It's just over. Once I had back surgery, that was the nail in the coffin. But believe me when I tell you, I would have kept fighting all the way, probably till I was 50. I don't know, because I loved boxing so much. So now that I'm away from it, I got talked into going to speaking to kids. I was depressed. I was for probably 4 years after retirement. I was in a black place. Massive depression, suicidal. And a friend talked me into creating a anti-bullying campaign and to go in and talking to kids. And this was like right after I wrote my book. And I wrote my book when the lights go out, for therapy, really, for myself. It was more cathartic than anything. And I said, yeah, I could go talk to kids, I guess. I mean, maybe it'll make me feel a little better, probably be therapy for me, because I was doing a lot of healing at this time. And I went and started talking to kids at these auditoriums and packing the auditoriums with 2,000-3,000 kids, and started realizing it started giving me a reason to live again. Really starting to feel like I had a purpose, because I really felt like after boxing I had zero purpose. Like it was just over. It was just, my life was over. So I started helping kids, and it started helping me, but I still had an alcohol problem. Mm-hmm. So I can say now that I'm a year and 1 week sober. I'm a year and a week sober now. So, and a lot of people will say like, well, dude, you could have a glass of wine, with your meals. You could do this, you could do that. I'm like, listen, man, for me, I lived that life. I lived the life of drinking and debauchery and womanizing and doing all that. It's not for me anymore. I'm moving into a different direction of my life. I had that bumpy roller coaster of a ride, and now I just want to be left alone. I really don't want anything to do with boxing anymore, because it hurts still emotionally. So I do commentating on TV here and there, but it's still hard for me to enjoy that, because I was just in the ring. Just to me, it feels like yesterday. So now I'm going in this new direction, and somehow fell into this political mess with Trump and the whole deep state thing, and giving my opinions and rants and interviewing certain people. So now this has kind of been a different fight, but nonetheless, it's a challenge, and I accept it, and I plan to continue going forward with it. And like I have my own channel now, Nino's Corner.tv and all that, and I just do interviews, and it's been taking a lot of my time, which is good, because I don't think about drinking. So
yeah, the drinking stuff is really tough, and there's a lot of people who turn to vices in times of stress. So what was it for you that really felt like, okay, I've had enough, I gotta be done? Was it about helping kids, or was there more to it?
No, I was speaking at the seminars hungover. I mean, I was still like I was still doing what I had to do. I was drinking. What made me quit was about 2019. Gosh, last year was 2020. Okay, so yeah, 2019. Geez. And I was feeling a nudge in my soul, like constantly, just, gosh, Dave, you got to stop drinking. You got to stop. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something. And I was like, what's coming? Something is looming around the corner, and I felt it, like instinctually, intuitively, everything. All my senses were telling me, and I just drown it out. And then one day I was at the bar, and I was looking at my friends, and I was standing there at the bar, and the bar had a mirror in the back of it. And I was staring into the mirror, and then I was looking over at my friends, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be like these guys in 5 years. And I was looking at them, and they're just drunk and like, swollen, fat, the whole thing. And I'm looking at them, and I remember thinking to myself, I had a tequila shot that I finished already, and I had my beer, and I was drinking my beer. And then I looked in the mirror, and I was like, holy shit, like, I am them. I'm them. I'm the washed up boxer at the bar now. So the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. And then I put the beer down, and I said, if I don't leave now, I'll never do this. So I walked out, and I told them, hey, I'll be right back, whatever, I'm going to the restroom. I don't remember what I said. And they go, yeah, okay, yeah. And I just walked it, went to my truck, and drove and went home. and I just never ever went back to the bar again.
Wow.
That's really how that ended.
Yep.
Because I knew it was then, it was now, it was right. It was like I was being, like I had a choice right then and there, this way or that way. Either stop drinking right now and go out the door, or you're going to be here for the rest of your life. And I left.
That's a real thing that happens. I've definitely had to walk away from alcohol. I have a lot of people in my life where they're into the alcohol thing, and they're just extremely difficult to deal with on any kind of coherent level. Their emotions are all over the place. I mean, there's almost like a lack of logic sometimes. You're like, I'm just trying to get through to
Yeah.
you.
My
Come
sister
on.
died from it. I mean, I lost my sister to this. She was an alcoholic and she died of cirrhosis. And it was a brutal death. It was like, it was not, it was, ugh, agonizing. Like for the whole family, not just her, like physically her, like it was terrible. But to watch your sibling die slowly was just, oh. And I didn't want my parents to have to do that twice, you know, and not to mention that my grandmother died that way, my aunt died that way. It's in the family.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of generational trauma healing going on right now, and it's like someone in the family eventually it's going to run into them, and you're going to say, "Well, this stops here," you know.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I'm
And
not
that's how I feel about it. Either I stop it now, or really I had two choices. It was like death or prison.
pretty much.
So, I mean, that's really just where I was headed. Because, I mean, yeah, you're having a good time and it's all innocent and fun. And then something happens.
Yeah, it's not all innocent and fun. People make so many terrible decisions while overly intoxicated. It's disturbing.
Right.
It definitely affected my life in many ways. So, and all kinds of people. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the viral video that you put out that really kind of got you into, putting your opinion out there about Trump. Like, Stephanie, I kind of want to turn this one over to you because you had a really eloquent way of asking this question. So go ahead, girl.
Well, this is kind of great and full circles because you actually gave me my red pill into Hollywood weird, because that video you did with the pedophilia rings, I had no idea. And when you did that video, it opened the door and I saw the world in a whole new way. So it's really great to have you here. And for me personally, I'm just like, this is great. I'm like nervous now because I'm feeling all the emotions of that video again and recalling how dark it was and how, you talked a bit about the instinct and the intuition telling you, when you need to stop doing something, but how did you know when to release this and start doing something? Like, what do you remember your process and what pushed you to be like, I'm going to speak up about this?
Oh, you mean that video? What, like why I chose to do that video?
Yeah.
Well, that actually, I'm going to be 100% honest with that. It was an accident. I didn't know it was going to take off like that, and I didn't know it was going to go viral. I really had no idea. I had no ulterior motives. I had no, to be honest with you, I had no idea that I was channeled, to be honest. It just came through me, and it's just information that I knew. And it was information that I have very powerful sources and very powerful sources. And I kind of just was having coffee on my back porch, and I was on a Facebook Live, and I just started talking about it, just candidly. Like, and next thing you know, I'm like, 200,000 views. What's going on here? This can't be right. 500,000 views, a million. What's going on? Then it's in like translated in different languages. And I was like, oh, great. I'm dead. So, when that happened, I did, and a lot of people today tell me like, you red pilled me, you did this, you did that. And I'm like, wow, I thought it was information that everybody knew. I didn't know that I thought I was just kind of reiterating what people already knew about Hollywood. I didn't know, because the circles I ran with, it's like so many people knew about the dark side of Hollywood, but I knew what the objective was with Trump. I knew that he was going after him. And so that I just wanted to, reassure people that there's a bigger agenda at play here. Yeah, there's some bad stuff going on with COVID, but they're also using this as an operation to go after these sick people.
Mm-hmm.
And look at me, I was validated 100 times over. You know what I mean? All the stuff that happened with Maxwell, with Epstein, with and now it's out in the open, and everyone knows. They can go research all they want. It's there. So I felt like I really kicked the door open with that, or I kind of hit the wasp nest with a stick and ran away. It was either I embrace it or run from it. And honestly, I ran at first. I didn't want anything. I avoided all interviews. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And then I prayed about it, and I thought, well, this wouldn't have happened by chance if God didn't want it to happen. So I prayed about it, and I found the strength to move forward. And so I did. And that's where I'm at with it now. I mean, everything that just kind of happened, and it's kind of weird too, because it's shining light back on my boxing career. Strange. I mean, just life is so strange. And prior to that video, so many weird things were happening with it. I don't really tell many people, but about a month before that video, and I've only told a few people about this, but gosh, man, some really paranormal, weird things were happening in my life. And it was all around the time I was sober, you know, because my dad was in the hospital. He was gonna have a valve replacement in his heart. He needed a pacemaker. It didn't look like he was gonna make it. He's 85. So I was praying really hard, and during this whole time I was sober. And then that video hits at the same time, and then COVID hits. You know, COVID hit. My dad's in the hospital. Well, I can't go see my dad in the hospital because they won't allow you. It was like Fort Knox. I couldn't go see my own father for a month and a half. I couldn't even see him, and he had to have just having a life-threatening surgery. And we didn't even know if he was going to be a candidate for the surgery. So it was tests after. It was so stressful. 2020 was the worst year, but best year of my life. And then I made that video, and certain things started happening. And this is going to sound crazy. I don't care. I'm just going to say it. For about 2 weeks, and I have a witness that was with me, I was seeing these lights in the sky that were UFOs that were just in New Mexico. We saw them. We were driving to Ruidoso. It was beautiful. It was like this constellation of lights that were doing all these different designs. And I remember we tried to take out our phone and record it, and they like knew, and then turn off. Mm-hmm. Then they'd appear again, and they were like over my truck. And then I thought, okay, that was crazy. Could be something they're experimenting with, whatever. Then I'm walking my dog with my friend that I was with at the time, and there they are again in my neighborhood. Sorry, my dogs. 1 second.
Speaking of dogs.
No.
Okay, yeah. So then really it just so many weird, like, I just feel like 2020 was just so strange but divine. I don't know. Yeah. And it all had something to do with me not drinking. And I feel like it was a really like a portal year. And I just hope that it wasn't in vain. I just really do. I hope we get through this, what we're getting through right now, what we're going through right now with these elections and everything going on. Because I'm telling you, humanity is hanging on the balance. Yeah. And if we don't get this right, we're either going to go into a fabulous future, or it's going to be hell and bondage and fear. And that's what we're battling right now. We're battling for humanity right now. And it's a nail biting time. It's a nail biting time because everything's on the line. You know, it's a spiritual war. It's biblical, what's going on right now. And people, you know, choose to put their head in the sand. And I don't understand it. It's like, pick up your shield, pick up your sword, and fight. It's time. There's never been a time like this in history of this magnitude. And here we are right now. And we're all hearing this together. This is absolutely humanity versus a satanic, demonic, globalist system that wants to enslave us. We have no choice but to fight. And that is why I'm so confident with Trump, because I don't believe he would take us this far to dump us. Mm-hmm. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I just think there's and I have enough people that are involved that, you know, obviously they don't tell me the intricate details of any kind of operation or anything. I don't know any of that, but I know the gist of it, and I know where this is supposed to be heading. Mm-hmm. And I have to believe in it. I don't believe we get this far and then turn it over to these satanic sickos. It just doesn't compute in my mind. No. We have to win this.
Yeah, we are standing up to the bullies of the world, really. And, you know, there's only so much people like Steph and I can do. We can use our voice and we can speak to others in our community. So do you have any like tips or methods that you use for communicating with people that it's just like you're not agreeing on things?
As of right now, I can only make these videos and be a spark of light. Hold on, I'm sorry. I have to, you know, they run the house.
Those of us who can lip read.
They they are like, they run my house. I think I feel like I live under their terms. Hey, sorry about that. So yeah, it's
The
just
bullies are
what-
speaking.
yeah, there they are. They're bullies. It's more like, what was the question? What do I have? What tips do I have for?
Yeah, when you're like dealing with people who really don't agree with you, and it's like it's
Oh,
almost
okay,
like,
yeah, okay. So the way I see it is this way. At this point, where I'm at in my life right now, I'm keeping my space sacred. I can only put out these videos and do what I do and light a spark, and hopefully someone takes it and runs with it and turns it into an uncontrollable fire. But those that do not is not my problem.
Mhm.
And those that disagree with me, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to fight you about it, but I also don't have to be around you, and I don't have to associate with you. So I've cut off a lot of people, and especially energy vampires that drain my energy because they want to know this and they want to know that, and then they have a negative. They poke at you with a negative strike, and then they or a comment, and then it's just like, it's like, why am I objecting myself to this? I don't need to. I want to protect my sacred space and my energy, and I'm only gonna be around people that have like minds. The people that don't agree with me now at this juncture where we're at right now, I don't associate with them anymore. I just don't, because the line has been drawn in the sand for me, and I have to keep my energy. I have to preserve my energy and keep it sacred. I have to have a space, a sacred space in my life to where I can't give myself to everybody and try to explain this like I'm going to especially on the elementary level. I can't do it. It's either you understand and you've turned, that switch has been turned on and you're part of the great awakening, or you're going to be a part of the great reset in which they want you to be a part of. And you're going to march in and you're going to take your vaccines and you're going to you're going to believe in this horse shit and subject yourself to communist bondage. That's not me. So those people that want to go with that and jump on that train, go ahead. That's fine. I can't change that anymore. People have to wake up on their own. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm not going to lower my vibration to them to try to explain shit that I'm already playing 5D chess. I'm already on another terrestrial plane. I don't need to go down there and fight with him, because then that pulls my energy down to my vibration. Next thing you know, I'm drinking again. You know, so I'm trying to protect my energy right now, and that's just, especially now in this crucial time, I have to. I have to just. I'll make my videos. I'll do my rants, but I stay away from a lot of people because I can't explain. It's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, people are so triggered. You drop one word and they're just like, "You're crazy. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?" You know, and Steph and I come from a background of, you know, we would identify as liberals. Like, I'm from Seattle, Washington. I mean, the majority of people that I know are from Washington, Oregon, California. So there is a huge division going on in my own personal life, and I've had to do kind of
Well,
the same thing.
it's
Just
like
different.
this. The real numbers, Trump won 49 states. Almost 80 million people voted for him. So think about that.
Yeah, I know. It's just tough because you have to, you know, let people do their thing. And so I guess my question for you with, you know, having to cut people off sometimes and keep your sanity through all this, like, what are you doing to stay sane?
I work out
Other
a
than
lot.
snuggling your dogs, because your dogs are therapy, obviously.
I take them to walks all the time. Right now, I'll be honest with you, I've been having a problem with that. I'm not going to lie, because it's a very critical time in history and where we're at. And I'm obviously playing some kind of role. Somehow I got thrown into this somehow, which I don't understand. I'm still questioning that, but I've chosen to embrace it. So there's a lot of heaviness on me. and a burden on me to deliver information to people and talk to certain people and try to decipher what's real, what's not, and then go out there and put it out there. So that's been hard for me. But uh, I I feel like nothing's an accident, and I feel like I was chosen to do this at this time for whatever reason, and I'm going to pick up my shield and my sword and fight and do what I got to do. And if I have to be looked at as a pillar of strength for other people, then so be it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I've dealt with some hard things in my life, and I know what it's like to fight, and I know what it's like to get in the ring by myself and fight the baddest dudes on the planet, and I can do this. So that's
Yeah,
fine.
and you don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't even have any sort of military training background, do you?
Oh yeah, I got these, and I'm telling you, these took me far enough. When you're a fighter, man, it's there's nobody like fighters. There's just we're a different breed. We're all by ourselves. I mean, I did that for a living, and you're in a league of your own.
Yeah. And now, you're using all of that and trying to decipher, military level information and deliver it to the people. It's wild.
Uh, I have a lot of people that open up to me,
Mhm.
but I got to be careful because I get a lot of bullshit too. So it's like, and I know a lot of people want to make me look like a fool. And I tell everybody, I'm like, look, fact check me. I'm just coming here with an open heart
Mhm.
and trying to be the best soul I can be and help people. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. I'm not worried about that because I'm putting myself out there. I'm just trying to do service to others. I've lived the service to self for so long with ego. I had a death of my ego. And now it's just about trying to do bit with you being a humanitarian, really
Yeah.
trying to fix everything I did wrong in my life. I wasn't a bad guy, but I didn't play by the rules, and I didn't much care about hurting people's feelings, and I was out to destroy people when I fought, and it carried over into my personal life too. So now I'm just trying to like fix the wrongs, I guess.
Yeah. You're doing a good job. It's hard work, but I really appreciate what you're doing. And, there is a problem in society that I would say of like, if you're not perfect, you don't even deserve to be heard. As everyone's just like,
Yeah.
we need perfect, we need you to be reliable. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you go and ask your news sources to go be reliable real quick because they're lying to you.
Right. And I always say, like, you haven't hit rock bottom till you find out rock bottom has a basement. So I've been there, I've been there. So I'm telling you, I've accepted it. I've accepted that, I lived in that life and I know how black it can be. So nothing's worse than that. I'll tell you that right now. So
Yeah. Question for you. When you were in the boxing world, I mean, I'm sure you kind of went to other fighting things. Maybe you went to UFC fights, but kind of being in that world, being in the Hollywood world, I mean, how much you say that it was obvious to you what was going on? Like, did you see human trafficking happening at these events?
I heard of parties, man, and I just wouldn't go to them because I was like, what? And I would hear of people that like in other circles that people like, yeah, dude, we saw kids there, or like, I was like, what? Or like, friends that were in Saudi Arabia telling me how like little boys were dressed up as girls and like it's just sick stuff, man. That I just would be like, wow. Um, I never went to I went to some weird parties. I'm not gonna lie, but I never went to a party where, um, if I would have saw kids at a party, I would have done something right then and there.
I bet.
Bottom line, you know what I mean? Bottom line, I would have been like, you guys are I would have spot somebody.
Mhm.
So that, thank God, I never walked into that, but I sure did hear about it.
Wow. That's got to be tough. I mean, who wouldn't?
They test you out, man. They see how weird you are before they, even get you into that. So I was always very strong will. They knew like this dude ain't, you could just tell by my demeanor. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna fold. I'm just not that type of person. So
Yeah, and personally for me, I grew up going to a lot of music shows in the Seattle area. My sister was pretty involved in the music industry, and then when we were exposed to all this red pill information, it was just like, click, oh my God, that is terrifying stuff. And it's just, I'm like, oh, I was surrounded by people who are living this life, and I had no idea. I mean, for you, it's a little different because you just kind of already knew that it was there. But like for others who are just now waking up to this, I mean, is there anything that you can say to those people that kind of help them on their journey of processing this information?
Yeah, as beautiful life is, there's also an ugly side. It's the flip side of the coin. And there's so much majestic, gorgeous beauty on this planet, but there's also the opposite, you know, and we need to accept that. You know, it's yin and yang, or it's the polarization, whatever it is. But also know this, for the ugliest of ugly that we know that exists, there has to be that goodness. There has to be the light. There has to be that good energy. There has to be God, you know, because if there's that equal, then there has to be an exact opposite. So if there's that evil, then there has to be an exact opposite. That's what I was trying to say. And that's how I see it. So choose to go which side you want. Which side do you want? You want to go towards the darkness or the light?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm at now. I'm just choosing to go a different path, put away drinking, negative people, and I'm choosing to be around people that make me feel better, or at least give me some kind of sense of peace.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how I'm handling it now.
Yeah. And you and Laura, you're doing the show Dark to Light. Like, what is that like working with someone with, you know, she's the granddaughter of an ex-president. Like, what is that
Yeah.
like for you? I mean,
She's a brilliant lady, man. She's so awesome. I love Laura. She's became a really good friend of mine. Extremely intelligent, very sensitive. And our show is just about truth and disclosure and trying to make an impact, you know, just trying to like bring some promise to the world, because it's just lately it just seems so dark. So that's why we called it Dark to Light, to shine a light on people's experiences and you know, the black budgets, you know, secret space programs, things that will get your imagination just going, to make your imagination run away with you, you know, that you wouldn't believe really exist. And we're just trying to help people give them different nuggets of information where they can formulate their own opinion on things. We're not saying every guest we have on there is legit. I don't even know if they are, but at least people can formulate their own opinions from our shows and
yes,
put the pieces together themselves.
It's a beautiful thing. And I remember I watched an episode where you had someone on that talked about remote viewing and kind of bringing it back to paranormal experiences. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a paranormal experience, but for people that's not normal, that it's like, hey, all of a sudden you have this ability to look into any space and time, into any situation. And it's just, I mean, since you're working with Laura, like, are you having more spiritual practices? Are you kind of developing more of these
No, I
tools?
mean, you would think I would, right? But I've been so distracted and overwhelmed with all this stuff that's going on right now. I really need. Thank you for the reminder, because I need to like step away. I want to step away right now and really just go within myself and pray and just get some kind of self-reflection. But it's like I can't, because we're in such a crazy, turbulent time right now that and people are reaching out to me every damn second, and it's just like, yeah. Well, all I can say is thanks for the reminder. Maybe that's what I need to do. No, seriously. I mean, yeah. I mean, you just reminded me. I need to take time for myself, and I'm not doing it. But gosh, we only have 8 days. Oh.
Yeah. Stephanie, it looked like you wanted to say something.
I was just going to say, David deals with so much heaviness, you know, the energy of the collective, this information, it's really dark stuff.
It's too dark.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, you talked a lot about sacred space, and how do you practice and you talk about energy, so we know it's a 5D game. So how do you keep a sacred space spiritually? What are your practices like? Do you meditate? How do you protect yourself?
I pray every day. I pray constantly, probably 20 times a day in my mind. And I'll even take the time, and I do this as a practice because I can't say I'm religious, but I still praise the rosary. And I do it because it puts me in a meditative state. And I do that, and and like I said before, I'm staying away from a lot of people right now, because they can really confuse your energy and cloud your energy. And I need to have my energy for myself and sacred, because if I expend too much to people and give to that person, I have nothing left for myself.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing for me right now.
Yeah.
I got to be delicate with myself. It doesn't sound like a fighter saying that, but I'm realizing as I get older that I need time to, you realize things as you get older. That's, that I completely ignored when I was younger. And that's why I was drinking.
Mhm.
And now I realize it looking back then, I'm like, wow, I should have done this. I should have done that. And I didn't do that. So, okay, now I know, take time for me.
Yeah. Humans sometimes like to learn things the hard way.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
From a human to human, I just hope you spend more time to find a bit of joy and lightness in your life, even though I know you have so much going on.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that breaks
I
my heart
really
to know
appreciate that.
there's just a lot on you, and I'm a bit of an empath, so like whatever you feel, I feel too. So I'm like getting really emotional talking about it.
Yeah, it's a heavy time, but I think it's a collective right now. I think everyone's feeling this. We know what's at stake. And it's a heavy time for humanity. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough to see what happens here.
Yeah. And just a little bit ago, you mentioned that we only have 8 days. So will you expand upon that a little bit about what you mean by that?
To be honest, if Biden gets in, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And the fight will just be beginning, and it's gonna be, the odds are gonna be against us, and that's not what I want. So if Biden gets in, it's gonna be a harder fight than Trump, than which I'm hearing Trump could be inaugurated in March if everything goes as planned. But if it doesn't and Biden gets in, it's not going to be good. We're going to be in a much tougher fight than we ever could imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we can't win it, but the odds aren't good.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that would be on a list in that case.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, I'm sayonara later.
it's tough. It's tough stuff. But I like to keep a very hopeful viewpoint, and I believe that we are conscious creators. And so, the dark kind of works by dangling these different things in front of our head about how things are gonna go. That's like the whole purpose of the news. It's like, this is what's happening, and believe this and believe
Yeah,
that.
they're
You know,
making you co-create
Exactly. And
through
so
fear.
that's why I don't want to wrap myself into, well, what if Biden gets elected? What if he gets in? It's like I'm just like I'm not even gonna go there because I
I
feel like
know. I can't even
both the
compute that.
moment.
I'm with you on that. I can't even think about that.
Yeah. And
We
there's
have to
some
win
people,
this.
yeah, I think we will. I really do think that we will. And a lot of people said, like the light has already won. And to some people that sounds absolutely crazy. But for us who are
Yeah.
spiritual, Stephanie is a very, very excellent empath, almost scary sometimes how much she can tap into stuff. But I feel like there's we are part of this great awakening, and that's what we're choosing. And let's just keep focusing on that and let that be what guides us, and what fuels our swords of truth, and our ability to hold up those shields. And part of what the work that you've done has inspired me to be able to come onto this platform that we're creating and just be like, I'm going to use my voice because of my background with the entire West Coast. It's like the people of my life are going to be like, oh, Jessamyn's doing this now, like, oh geez, but hopefully it'll make them think twice about what's going on. And I have planted some seeds, and that leaves me hopeful. Some people are starting to kind of like put this together, and that those little wins along the way, they really help keep my morale up. So
Absolutely.
I hope that you find more little wins coming your way every day. And
I appreciate that.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'm just looking forward to watching all of the episodes that you and Laura put out. It's really great, and probably going to sign up for Nino's TV here pretty soon.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I tell people it's only a cup of coffee a month.
Exactly, right?
The people are like, man, how are you charging? I'm like, dude, geez, gosh, I have to keep up a website, and I give like 15% to the people that did it. So
Yeah. Money talks, you guys. Money talks. It's just $5.
it's just energy. That's all it is.
Mhm.
Just being compensated for energy.
Yeah. Well, we hope that you just keep on keeping on, and that you take very good care of yourself, because we really do appreciate everything that you're doing. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that you can get back in there and start, mentoring children again in these detention facilities, and really help people begin to process, how to deal with bullies.
Yeah.
It's an art form, and it's not easy stuff,
No, but I mean, I tell them stories. I mean, I tell them my own testimony, and that really strikes a nerve with them. So I think I'll just keep doing that. I'll do it. I'm just gonna keep doing what works.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, your story
Hey,
is
is
very
there,
inspiring. Yeah, I didn't know that was your whole story. So thanks for sharing that. You are inspiring people, and
Thank
it is
you.
very, inspirational. Thank you so much. Can you tell people how to support the great work that you're
Well,
doing?
yeah, they can go to ninoscorner.tv, and they can basically, I'm going to be starting as soon as things get, well, if they get back to normal, I will be doing engagements again at schools. I plan to continue doing that. And the new foundation is called KO Bullying, and we have an Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me at David Nino Rodriguez Official. I know it's long, David Nino Rodriguez Official. And then Nino Boxer on Gab, because I know Twitter and Facebook, they're done. And I've been disabled on all of them and suspended on Twitter. So it's like, I'm not going to even go back to those platforms. I'm just ready to go on to the new stuff. So Nino Boxer is how you find me on Gab. And we'll see where this goes. We got 8 days.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to join us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. How do I